Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a very, very special edition of the Kitchen Table. We've seen it taking many sort of different forms, if you like, in the past, the Kitchen Table, but we've had David here before, but this one is a little different once again. We are going to talk, David, about Rally Day, which is probably the UK's premier day out, isn't it, for rally fans, single venue rally fans, and it's one of those events that just seems to get better and better every year.
Oh, it does. It grows and grows, and this year there is a really special Italian flavour to it, Colin, isn't there? There's a
bit of Italian wine. No, not that sort of flavour. Spaghetti carbonara, not that sort of flavour.
No. There's always, Rally Day is always a real eclectic mix of all sorts of cars from all different generations. But this year there's more Lancias coming, and really for a lot of. Well, for a certain generation of fans, there would only be one driver to come and drive them. And who's that, Colin?
That would be the only Italian World Rally Champion, 2 times Italian World Rally Champion. Do you know he won 17 rallies, David Evans?
You've done your research.
You've done your
research.
That's right.
I'm very pleased.
Listen,
finally.
And I should have to do my research because he is a rally legend, and we're very fortunate at Rally Day this year to have 2 times Italian rally, 2 times World Rally Champion, Italian legend Miki Biasion.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Italian flair and style and passion and exuberance and rallying. It's almost an overload, isn't it, at times? But when it comes together, it is supreme in terms of the spectacle.
It is, and Biasion is a genuine star. We saw, in Sardinia, he's there every year for Rally Italia. And I remember, I think it was last year, Mark Webber came and did a piece with him for Red Bull TV. And Webber, there was genuine enthusiasm, and you kind of almost forget because it was, it was 88, 89, 30 years ago that he won his first title. But he was a massive name, and I remember when I was at school trying to break down his name. Was it Biasion? How do you say it? And
Mickey the Bison.
Exactly, and then it was Massimo the first part, and but I loved all of that, and then. I didn't really ever interview him that much. I've spoken to him quite a lot since, events like Rally Legend and this kind of thing. And he's such a nice guy, and you still get that sort of tingle when
you
talking
to and you're right.
Biasion.
The only real time that I have had the opportunity to speak to Biasion has been at Rally Sardinia, and he's quite unassuming.
Oh,
and he's quite down to earth, and he really is a very, very, for an Italian as well, and for an Italian world champion, an Italian motorsport world champion. Because these guys are gods.
They are.
They're absolute gods. But he is very unassuming, and he takes time to still go and watch the rallies, to talk to the fans. A lovely, lovely man and a great ambassador for the sport. But, Italy's an interesting place for rallying, isn't it? Because it really epitomises glamour. It's almost the opposite of what rallying has become, because of what rallying was when it started. Rallying was about a down to earth. It was about the man in the street. It was about the grease monkeys in the garages under the arches.
Yeah.
Italy with Pirelli and the glamour of Pirelli. The absolute glamour of Lancia and the 037 and Stratos. And then the drivers and Martini as well. In some ways you think, well, they were strange bedfellows, weren't they? Rallying and Italy, but my goodness, it just worked.
You're absolutely right, and it perhaps was quite a difficult mix, but equally, for years and years, Lancia really put so much effort into winning the Safari.
Yeah.
That was such a big event for them, and it was Miki Biasion, of course, that won it for the first time for them in '88 in his first championship year. I think it's fantastic to have Biasion there for the first time.
Yeah.
And he's going to feel the full force of 15, 20,000 people at Rally Day who come and see. And he is, like you say, he's a really unassuming guy. And I don't think he can be prepared for what's coming his way when he gets to Castle Combe.
Absolutely. And it's a wonderful opportunity for all of those people at Castle Combe. I mean, obviously not all of them will get the chance to speak to him. But I suspect Biasion will spend his whole day selfies, talking to people, signing autographs, talking about the wonderful cars that he's driven. Because, my goodness me, when you talk about iconic cars, iconic brands that you've already mentioned in rallying, sponsors, Biasion was involved in an awful lot of that, perhaps all of it, really.
Yeah, he certainly came through. He started in an Opel Kadett, then a Skoda 400, Group 1, 2 and Group 4 cars, and then 037, and 2 years with...
Is that how we say it? 037? I call it 037.
But O's not.
Is it 007 or James Bond 007?
It's a 0, isn't it? It's not an O.
Yeah,
What's your phone number?
James
Don't
Bond.
tell everybody.
James Bond.
But do you say 0 or O?
James Bond. Do you say
it's
007?
I say 07810. That's my phone because it's not an O. MNO is the alphabet. 0, 1,
Well, do you know
2.
what? If anyone can help us out with this, what is the correct way to say it? Is it the 037 or the 037? Let us know. Leave a little comment underneath the video. Let us know.
But obviously I'm right, not him.
Not just a guess, because I'm guessing. He's guessing. We don't need any more guesses.
I think it's 037.
Right.
It sounds.
I know a man who'll know.
But you're right. You wouldn't say 007, would you?
No.
Sorry.
No.
We digress.
We digress.
So he spent. But this was the best bit about Biasion and everything that's Italian. He drove for Jolly Club, and I loved that when I was young. The whole Jolly Club thing, the sort of semi-works outfit that ran the semi-works cars for them, but to call it the Jolly Club, it was brilliant. And for me, that was
an Italian
fantastic.
name, the Jolly Club. Where did it come from?
No,
How did it come about?
I've no idea. Again, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps our listeners, our viewers can help us out with that. But it was a lovely concept, wasn't it?
It was, and he had 2 years in the 0/037. But then he moved in '86 to the big team.
Yeah.
And in fairness, he moved under fairly tragic circumstances. And that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Obviously, we were talking about Attilio Bettiga dying in Corsica in '85. But at that time, in the late '70s, early '80s, there were Italian drivers. There was Sandro Minari who won the FIA Cup for drivers, I think it was called, which was the sort of forerunner of the WRC drivers title. So he was never actually a world champion, but really he was. And then, of course, we had Attilio Bettiga, and then we had Biasion. And since then, it's incredible to think that for a country that had all of that passion for the sport, all of the cars and everything, they haven't produced another world champion since then. You know, we've had Gigi Galli, people like this, and now Fabio Andolfi, but there's nobody. And for me, it's a real shame that we don't have.
Why do you think that is? Because, you know, in some ways, when you look back at the likes of Biasion and the other drivers that you mentioned there, they were all rounders. And you had to be. You know, Biasion could win on tarmac at the San Remo, and he could win
Safari.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe the way the Italian Championship was going, because we've lost all those wonderful gravel roads that we used to have around the Tuscany region, and you know, the Italian rallying now is tarmac rallying. Yeah. No question about that. It is tarmac rallying, and there's very little gravel rallying these days. Listen, the guy we didn't mention there, who I think could have made an impact in the championship, is the Pirelli test driver, who I love. What's his name? Wins the Italian Championship time after time.
Paolo Andriucci.
Paolo Andriucci.
So sorry.
Paolo Andriucci. He was a bit of an all-rounder. But I suspect that the issue for Italian rallying has in part...
we should have mentioned him.
Of course we should have.
Yeah.
In part down to the fact that Italian rallying has gone from being a reasonably mixed scene with gravel and tarmac to almost exclusively tarmac, and that's not healthy, is it?
No, it's not, and undoubtedly that would have an impact because you know the Italian Federation, we've seen them put good money into their drivers, and it's just not happening.
Well, Pirelli continually supports the best of Italian drivers, but the best, Galli was the closest that we've had certainly in the last probably 20 years. 15 years at least. Galli is the closest that we've had to an Italian winning a round of the championship. I remember he led in the Mitsubishi in Turkey, where we're going through a very short time. He was close to leading. And then there was it was a clip. A one Euro clip gave way on the turbo and he lost a whole lot of time. But I think it is a mystery. At that
time, though, there was a lot, for sure, talking to Biasion, he felt in the Lancia team, because don't forget, you know, people could look at Biasion's titles in 88, 89 and say, well, where was the competition? You know, there was nobody, because Mazda had a 1600 car, and really, you know, it was before Toyota, before Mitsubishi. But when you talk to Miki about this, he would then point you to his teammates, Marco Allen, Juha Kekkonen, Didier Oro. And on top of that, you talked about drivers specialising. Lancia had everything covered, because they had Michael Eriksson to do more Finland, Sweden, then they had Bruno Sabi, Yves Lube, these great tarmac drivers as well. And one of Biasion's frustrations was early in his career, he didn't come to the RAC rally because the team didn't feel that he could drive what was then a secret event without pace notes, without a recce. Yet when he came for the first time in, I think, 1990, he finished third and drove brilliantly. But for sure, you know, I think he could have challenged for the 87 championship had he come to the RAC that year, but that was the way Lancia was run.
politics.
Yeah, completely.
It's always been the way.
Cesare Fiore at the top
Yeah.
and just dictating who goes where and what happens. And you know, hopefully on the day, on September the 22nd at Castle Combe, we will get some of the stories from Miki about the politics, about telling Alain to slow down and telling Kankkunen, because you know Kankkunen left Lancia I think after 1 year in '87 because he couldn't deal with the politics. So no, great stories to come from an absolute legend.
For sure, he is a legend, and well, we might as well, while we're talking about his career, we might as well talk about the days after the championship, just to round this one up, because it was a little unusual in that he didn't hang around too long, but he had a big money move, didn't he? After he with Lancia, and he was prized away, if you like, by Ford to be their lead driver. And not only was he driver, he was involved in the management as well of Ford. But that all.
But even at that time,
I tell you something you didn't know, David Evans.
At that time, when he moved in, it was 92 to 93, I think. He was the most expensive driver in the history of the sport.
Absolutely.
An incredible move. And given...
What did he say at the end of his first rally in the Cosworth?
Yeah, it wasn't...
He said, that car's a pile of shit, I think was the one that he used, which was most unfortunate, because as you say, he then took it to a podium on what was the RAC, didn't he?
But then equally, that was the Sierra. Once we got to the Escort the following year, it was much more his kind of car.
But then he was off. He was off after that, wasn't he? Because he was being regularly beaten by Delacour in the
he won the
Escort
Acropolis, and that was his last win.
And it was a shame, but he then went on to further glory, David, as I found in my research this morning.
You did.
You wouldn't quite call it the pinnacle of his career, but he then became... Do you know what? Do you know they said Solberg was the first FIA champion at two different disciplines? But clearly then the World Truck Championship in 1990-something wasn't an FIA discipline. Because Biasion, 2 years running, won the World Truck Championship.
That's remarkable.
There you go.
Incredible.
Tell you something. So if you were at Castle Combe on the 22nd of September this year, and you have the privilege, the honour and the luck in some ways to have a chat with Miki Biasion, ask him about the World Truck Championship. He was 2 times World Truck Champion. So there we are. Miki Biasion, what a legend. And it is great to visit these little stories about champions of the past, and no better place than Rally Day on the 27th. If you are looking to come along, absolutely, pencil it into your diaries. 22nd, you can turn up on the day, you can pay at the gate. It is better though to go to the website www.
Rallyday?
Rallyday.com. Rallyday.com. Not Rally Days, rallyday.com. We'll run it along the bottom of the screen here. www.rallyday.com. Get your tickets. It's a fantastic day out. You have the chance to meet the legends, to speak to the legends, to get some pictures taken with them, to see some remarkable cars. They run around that track at Castle Combe all day long. You can actually, you've always as a rally fan, and it is one of the most exhilarating experience. Left me in tears once. If you want, genuinely, there are photographs somewhere. If you want to go for a ride in one of these rally cars, you can do that as well. It'll cost you a little bit, but not an awful lot. Just to help the guys who come along on the day to cover some of their expenses. It is a great day out. www.rallyday.com. I'll be there. David Evans will be there. A whole host of rally people will be there. We look forward to seeing you there.